neighborhood of Vilnius, it actually has both numerous hidden gems, and plenty of dark sides, all of which we will explore today. First and foremost, though, the most interesting story, Žirmūnai has saved Vilnius from destruction. How, you may ask? It all happened in the late 1940s, after Lithuania fell under Soviet occupation. The Soviets planned to demolish much of the fabled Vilnius Old Town, replacing its opulent churches and palaces with wider, more communist-styled streets. You can catch a glimpse of what Vilnius Old Town would have looked like, here, in Vokiešų Street, which was widened, and had half of its buildings demolished by the Soviets. In fact, it could have looked even worse, as the Soviets gradually banned all architectural beautification by the mid-1950s, after this street was rebuilt. Luckily, by the late 1950s, Soviet policies changed again. Instead of rebuilding the old town in cheap apartment blocks, they chose to erect a new district further north. That district is Žirmūnai. What you see here, later became the standard face of the entire Soviet Vilnius, as one district after another was built like Žirmūnai. By the time Lithuania became independent in 1990, the majority of Vilnius inhabitants lived in cramped and similar-looking buildings, the beginnings of which were here. Compared to other Soviet districts of Vilnius, though, Žirmūnai had one huge advantage. Netis River was the only thing that separated Žirmūnai from the historic center in Vilnius. Thus, in 1971, Žirmūnai was chosen as a site for the Palace of Sports, the prime basketball and concert arena of Soviet Vilnius. Now abandoned, this brutalist edifice nevertheless is the kind of Soviet building that tends to attract, rather than detract, interest, eerie abandonment just contributing to its appeal. In order to build their new Žirmūnai, the Soviets have unceremoniously demolished much of what existed there before. The Palace of Sports itself has replaced an old Jewish cemetery, wiped completely from the face of the earth, until this memorial was built there after independence. A lot of Žirmūnai's stories are far darker even than this one, though. Like the story of this Tuskulėnai manor, now surrounded by Soviet apartment blocks. Here, the Soviet authorities used to hide the bodies of people they had murdered or executed. After independence, the park has been transformed into a massive postmodern memorial, inspired by Egyptian glory. Žirmūnai was also the site of the largest Russian imperial and then Soviet military base in Vilnius. From here, Soviet troops tried to retake Vilnius in January 1991, launching the infamous Vilnius massacre. Little remains from that era, though. Known as the North Town, the area became the first one in Lithuania to be redeveloped after independence, with new apartment blocks, shopping malls and more replacing the military base. Some of the Soviet industrial buildings that once provided for the Soviet military machine still stand, however, all their machinery is long gone. Nowadays, they contain offices and warehouses of a new, capitalist, Lithuania. Also repurposed are these Russian imperial barracks, now catering to the hipsters and startup accelerators. Žirmūnai's position close to the urban core of Vilnius has brought in many new developments. Modern apartments lined up the Netis River shores, many of them with hefty price tags. The new Vilnius Arena that has replaced the Palace of Sports has also been erected nearby. Modern shops and fuel stations cater for the now far more affluent Lithuanians. Even though the atmosphere of the first Soviet district may still be felt sometimes in Žirmūnai, it is slowly fading away into the winds of history. Žirmūnai is just one of many districts of Vilnius, each with its own history and stories. We will tell these stories, and show the greatest views from high above, in the other Lithuanian Drone Tour videos. Subscribe to this channel and you'll be the first to see them.